Alyssa Roenigk has more.
I've done interviews before the Olympics. It wasn't like the first time I've ever been on camera, but it was always kind of about the sport or what I'm doing, and it wasn't really so much about like my love life or who I'm interested in or anything like that. I was just kind of like in this in-between where I wasn't ready to go forward with the authentic me and kind of be who I am. I've known that I was gay since I was like 5 years old.
Kenworthy says he felt he had to hide his sexuality, particularly as his fame in action sports grew.
I think that the action sports world is very opinionated, and there's a very clear line in all of those sports as to what's cool and what's not cool. And when something's not cool, it's referred to as gay.
Oh, there's a triple! Oh, yes, Gus Kenworthy putting down the switch triple rodeo.
For the longest time, I didn't think I was going to tell anybody. I was so scared of what people would think that I used to always be like, oh, if I want to try this triple or whatever it is, like if I was to die doing this, I just felt like then I would be remembered and no one would ever have to know this dark side of me.
How different will it be to stand at X Games in January and know that you're not hiding anymore? Everyone knows.
I think that X Games this year is going to be like a whole new event for me because I think I'm finally going to get to be myself. And I mean, who knows, maybe there'll be people waving a rainbow flag at the bottom and I'll just feel very much embraced and welcomed and supported.
What would Sarah do? It's a question friends, teammates, and competitors of free skiing pioneer Sarah Burke often ask themselves.
Every single day I think about her. If I'm scared to do something, Sarah wouldn't have been.
After taking a fall in the slopestyle course, before attempting a new trick in the halfpipe, or when they're having a rough day and simply need to find a smile.
But there was something about her. Every time she would like look over and just give me one of those Sarah smiles that is just infectious.
They ask themselves, what would Sarah do? And then infuse the situation with her tenacious, courageous, infectious spirit.
She's always in my heart. Like, she's in everything I do, every single grab I do. Every time like I see a snowflake come out of the sky, I see Sarah.
From the time she buckled into her first pair of plastic ski boots at age 5, Sarah Burke's passion for the sport of skiing impacted the lives of so many athletes. She fought tirelessly for the inclusion of women in competition and for free skiing to be included in the Olympics.
She got us here where we are today, and just skiing with her every single run.
She pushed so hard free skiing to get into the Olympics. Her dream's coming true.
That dream came true on July 4th, 2011, 6 months before Burke's death due to injury suffered in a training accident in Park City. When the first Olympic free ski athletes marched in the opening ceremony in Sochi on February 7th, they were continuing her dream. And for the next 2 weeks as they competed in her honor, they didn't ask themselves what Sarah would do. They remembered they were there because of what Sarah did.
Alyssa, this mantra is definitely different from the old school, hard-nosed way of football. Why did Carroll decide to change his approach?
He said his big question was he wanted to know if you really took care of players, really cared about each and every person and understood them from a scientific, physiological, and mental perspective more than anyone ever had, what would happen? We love Ronda Rousey for her fight. She is a contradiction. A badass woman in a brutal sport who bloodies the faces of her opponents and then removes her hand wraps and rules the red carpet as easily as she owns the octagon. At a time when women in the larger sports conversation were talked about as victims, Rousey was becoming a symbol of female empowerment and the international face of the ultimate fighter. Every woman on the team that I asked said they are here not to defend the 2008 gold medal, but to beat Japan and avenge that loss.
World surfing champion Stephanie Gilmore has been attacked at her home in Tweed Heads.
This guy just randomly attacked me with like a metal bar.
Over the next 2 months, as Gilmore healed from her physical injuries, she struggled to overcome the invisible psychological trauma of the attack. At the first contest of the 2011 season, just 9 weeks after the attack, Gilmore wanted to prove to the world and to herself that she was still the world champ.
Take the ride for what it is, no matter how wild it is.
In October 2014, Caitlin traveled to Austria, where her career and life would change forever. Over a small handmade jump, Caitlin caught her heel edge and lost control. After lying on the snow, paralyzed from the neck down for 2 minutes, Caitlin was able to stand and walk, but numbness in her shoulders persisted. She would go for an MRI and see numerous doctors, who all delivered the same news.
Congenital spinal stenosis.
I just really want to stay in the sport and continue doing it. Otherwise, I know that I'd probably just move to the beach and nobody in the snowboard world would probably ever see me again.
Lindsay Jacobellis is the most dominant athlete in border cross history. She's won 7 X Games gold medals and nearly half the World Cup races she's entered. But despite all of that dominance, Jacobellis is probably most well known for a misstep, for falling within striking distance of the finish line in 2006. But it's been nearly 8 years since that heartbreaking moment in Torino, and nearly a year since a second surgery to repair a torn ACL in her left knee. For Jacobellis, that is all in the past. This season is all about winning the one medal that has eluded her all of these years, Olympic gold. 28 years old and preparing to make her 3rd straight Olympic team. It seems Lindsay Jacobellis has always had it figured out. But only a few years ago, her path was not so clear. In the finals, Jacobellis grabbed the hole shot and held a commanding lead entering the final stretch. On the second to last jump, she threw a method grab, but lost her balance, caught an edge on the landing, and fell.
It was a hard moment and a hard thing for me to get over.
Jacobellis is showing how much she has grown. Once a shy, beach blonde teen, tossed into the public spotlight, she has changed her outlook and her appearance. She's no longer afraid to let people see the real Lindsay and to share her passions and hobbies with the world. Jacobellis has a new perspective on her career and her life. She is now able to find value in moments where she once found only pain.